Hey, hello everyone, welcome to the last class of module 1 of Python, class 7th, in which we are going to study loops in Python and with the focus on for loop. So this class is brought to you in association with IOSD UIET KUK, and according to the syllabus of Essentials of Information Technology for second year in BTech Electronics and Computer Science. This is going to be the last lecture for module 1 of Python for ML Enthusiast. So we will be doing the module 2 in probably January or February. Okay, so let's get started with Python, loops in Python. Okay, so again the reference is taken from geeks4geeks.org/loops in Python, and this article is written by Ashirwad Kumar. Ashirwad Kumar. So thanks to him for this wonderful notes or reference. Okay, so there are three kinds of loops in Python. The first one is while loop, second is do while, and third is for loop. Now we are not going to study this loop away because this is sincerely useless. We will be only studying for loop and while loop. Okay, so when do we use for loop and when do we use while loop? When we know the quantities up to which we need to perform some action. Okay, say for example I need to perform action 2000 times, then I use for loop, and I'm very definite on how many times I want to use the for basically how many times I used to run the loop. If I'm not very specific on how many times I need to run the loop, then I use a while loop. While loop works on a single or a simple condition, that while this condition is not met, the loop is repeated no matter how many times it's repeated. Okay, while for loop works on numbers, so a particular function or particular set of statements is executed in a particular number. Okay, so it's really important. When you will see the syntax for while loop, you will observe that it runs until a condition is met. No matter how many times. And for loop, it runs until some mentioned number is met. Mentioned number is met. Okay, so if for example I want to run a code, say for example when until its value becomes 50. Now I don't know in how many iterations its value will become 50, so I use a while loop. But if I know that I want to run a code 50 times, then I use a for loop. Okay, so if I don't know the specific number or specific iterations, okay, so the number means iteration here. Iteration is an important word again in Python. It's similar to, no, not similar to, in importance it's similar to indentation. Iteration means the number I want to run a code again and again. Okay, so 5 iteration means that I want to run a particular code 5 times. So if I know the definite number of iterations, then I use for loop. If I don't know the definite number of iteration, but I know the condition, the final condition that needs to be met, then I use a while loop. Okay, it's really simple. Now let's start coding, but before that, so Python programming languages provides following type of loops to handle looping requirements. Okay, what basically is a loop? A loop is a command. Loop is a command. I think you can note it down if you want. Okay, but you will find it on my Git repository, so no matter. So loop is a command that is used to run a set of statements for a definite or for a given time / iterations. Okay, so basically when I would need to repeat a set of statements, I need to re-execute a set of statements for a given time or iteration. Say for example 50 times, 60 times, 80 times, or a particular condition is met, then I need a loop instead of writing the statement again. A simple example is, if I want to for example write a program to print hello 40 times, or 40 times is too much, okay, it will create a nonsense, although it's really easy to execute it. Yeah, so 10 times, say. Okay, wait, it's connecting. What happened? There's some issue with the my network. I don't know if it's issue with my network or the Google Collaboratory. Okay, we are back. Okay, so to print hello 10 times, it's really simple. I will be using 3 different kind of commands to run this program. First is that I use this print hello, simple, and I copy paste it 10 times. Done. I run it and done. It's really simple, but no, we never used it. It's the wrongest method you can use, okay, because if the number tends to 100 or 120 or 150 and so on, you can't just write it again and again, okay. Similarly, it can be a condition that up to a condition is met, then you need to run some statements. So we don't use these methods, rather using a for loop. Now you can also see the way I write in for loop. So for we use this method, okay, for then some variable name. So generally we take I, j, k and so on. So for I in range, when I use range, I need to use a bracket, okay, with range. Range means that starting from 0, by default starting from 0 up to which number. Now here I want to take 10 digits, so I write in range 10. This means that in range 0 to 10, that's total 10 digits, okay, because it will always go up to n minus 1 iterations. If this is n, it will go up to n minus 1, starting from 0 to n minus 1 by default. You can actually change it. I will show you that in upcoming session, in today's session only, but after some time, okay. So you again use a colon because you need to create a block. Okay, I created a block, okay. Here I used a colon, so I created a block. So for I in range 10, print hello, simple. Now I will exit the block, that's all. I will run it, done. 3, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, done, easy. Okay, rather using a while loop. Now you can use while and for loop in all the conditions, but it is preferable that here, in case you know 10, you know the definite number of iterations, so it's preferred that you use for loop, but you can still use while loop. So I take a variable count or I, and I take its value as 0. So while, now I will write the condition I is not equal to 10, and I will print hello. Now the problem with the while loop is that you need to enter this statement here. What happens in for loop, that it automatically increments the value of I, okay, but in the case of while loop you need to increment the value in the block itself. The block after this while loop, you need to basically use this statement or use minus equal to 1, whatever you need, okay. We will be discussing this soon. There is some connection problem. Okay, so I have written a condition here, while I is not equal to 10, print hello, and I plus is equal to 1. Okay, 3, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, done, easy. So here I used a condition and here I used a definite number. That's the basic difference I wanted to tell you guys. So it's really simple to use loops. Let's get back to our reference. So while loop. In Python, while loop is used to execute a block of statement. So it's important of statement repeatedly until a given condition is satisfied. It's really important to understand this line. So let me just add it in the direct notes only. Okay. And when the condition becomes false, the line immediately after the loop in the program is executed. So you can actually use else loop, else condition here. In this case, since no statement is written just after while loop, just after the block of while loop ends, so nothing is executed, the function just or the code just automatically exits the control, okay. But you can actually write else condition, which means that if this condition is not met in some case for some value of I, then the else will be printed, okay. So print end and exit. Otherwise this can go to infinite, okay, because this function is repeatedly run. Now what will happen, that when you reach value 10, if in some case due to some issue the value becomes value 5 becomes greater than 10, okay. So again I is not equal to 10, so what will happen, it will run it. But I wanted is that it only run it 10 times. So in this case what happens, that value 5 will increase like 0, and 0 is not equal to 10, so it printed hello. Then 1 again not equal to 10, so it printed hello again, and so on. When the value of I becomes 10, this condition will become false, and hence this else statement will be executed, and that will exit the function, okay. So I hope you guys have understood the working of this while loop. Okay, so I just took it to canvas here to explain you guys what I meant by saying okay. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say, okay, so what I'm trying to say is that so you see this I is greater than 10, okay. So what happens, that initially I has value of 0, then its value becomes 1 after this statement is executed. So when its value is 0, what happens, that this printing takes place, then its value becomes, and this printing takes place, then again its value becomes 2, this takes place, okay. So what happens is let me use eraser. Oh, okay. So what's happening, that initially when the value is 0, so how I'm going to explain you how this while loop works, okay. Initially the value is 0, so the code the execution starts from while. So while this condition is checked, okay, that 0 is not equal to 10, okay, it's true. So while true, it always works like with boolean, okay, similar to if and else statement. So while true, and then it comes to this part, it prints hello, and I is incremented. This is very important in this case, and this part is printed, okay. Similarly I value is incremented, then it again goes to here. So after incrementation, the program control shifts back to while loop. Then 1 is not okay. By this time the value has become 1. The value has changed. Okay, it had become 1. So 1 is not equal to 10, again it's printed. Again the program control shifts to while loop. Again 2 is not equal to 10, again printed, and so on. When I value becomes 9, so, okay, when value 9 comes, like this part, okay, so 9 is not equal to 10, this last hello gets printed, and then increment takes place again, its value becomes 10, while 10 is not equal to 10. Now 10 is not equal to 10, this statement is false, so while false, so this part ends there, and the lines just after the while loop are executed. Okay, so these statements are executed. Now I can also I also want to diagrammatically show you the indentation block here. So you see this block, so this block here which has the same space is indentation block 1, and similarly this block here which has same space is indentation block 2. This block is for else, this block is for while. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. Okay, now let me run that again. So it prints hello. The last time hello is printed. At this point value of I is 9, and finally it prints end. Similar is the way of working of for loop. In this case I is auto incremented unless provided. Okay, so for I in range 10, so I in range 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on up to 0 to 9. Okay, n minus 1, so 0 to 9, and hello gets printed. That's all. Okay, so while expression statements, all the statement intended by the same number of character spaces. Again, after programming construct are considered to be part of single block of code. Python uses indentation as its method of grouping statements. We learned it in the last class. Python programs to illustrate while loop. So it's a simple program. Again, the value of count that I took I is taken as 0, and hello geek is printed. Using else statement with while loop, as I told you. Okay. Yeah, in this case if I want to print, for example, 10 times, but I want to print the number also, the value of I also, so print I. Okay, I need to use tab space, print I, and what I want is that value of I starts from 1, so I can write it like this: initial value comma final value, but the final value will be n minus 1, or initial comma final plus 1. Now I will be printed and print hello will be printed. So let me converge them in 1. This will be printed and hello will be printed. Done. Okay, so for I in range 1 to 11, remember this final plus 1. So final is the final number I need, and then I need to add 1 here because it goes from n1 up to n minus 1. So enter. Sorry. So it prints it 10 times. It's easy. And similarly in this case I can print I comma hello. Okay, you can see it prints from 0 to 9. I can make it 1 and I can make it 11. Again n minus 1 rule, because in Python or in any other programming language counting starts from 0. I hope that's very clear to you. And this is important part that I wanted to tell you, that it's not always by default. You can change it with initial comma final plus 1. Single statement while block, you can converge this all in a single statement. If I just remove this and yep, while count is it is suggested not to use this type of loop as it is never, okay, it's a infinite loop. Okay, it's a different concept. Infinite loops, you will be needing these kind of loops in some conditions when you want to perform an action infinitely. Say for example in OpenCV. Now what is OpenCV? That's computer vision, a library in machine learning, important library in machine learning. In OpenCV you want to keep the webcam open. and continuously take picture. Okay, so what happens that if you want to keep your webcam open and continuously take pictures, that is to record a video. This means to record a video you need an infinite loop something. In case of infinite loop we always use while. Okay, we never use for loop there. It's preferred to use while. So there are two methods by which basically it's one method, but it has been broken into two methods by which we can make a loop run infinitely. So while, okay, let's say first method is take any variable and take some value. Okay, and while, now make this statement true in any way, like while I is equal to 0, this statement is true, and print a, and yep, if you run this, okay, not like this, so it's an infinite loop. Okay, it will keep on running infinitely. You need to stop it using your keyboard only. So I put a keyboard interrupt here and it has stopped. In a similar way, when we use OpenCV, we have to add some kind of interrupt to the statement. Another way is very simple. You just write while and you enter boolean true and you print something. It's the most popular method to run a infinite loop. Okay, it starts infinite loop. Stop. Okay, stop. Done. Otherwise it will keep consuming your RAM and disk and you will be out of your memory. Okay, for in loop, I have already told you this loop, so you can you haven't done tuples yet, but that's how it works. For I in L, print I. Again, it's an important method when we use it with list. So say for the example, there is some list, say A, B. List can be heterogeneous also. So let's add some number also, and so on. So for I, again I is default. I don't know if it's default or not, but every coder uses I. So for I in L. Now I haven't added range here. Why? Because range is for some numbers. I will be showing you how to use range in this case. Print what? Print li, L of I. That's how you do slicing. I hope you remember this. List indices must be integer or slices, not string. List indices. What's the problem? Okay, sorry. This is not required here. It will be required. Yeah. So what's happening? That when I write for I in L, it basically means these elements. It's directly taking up these elements, not the address. Okay. So when I print I, so for I in L means for A, B, and 1, 2, 3. Now if I write it like this, for I in range of len of L, then I need to print what? I need to print L of I, because now it will be accessing the integer, so the address. Done. It's really simple. Let me write that code again, the previous code. Okay, let me just copy that from here only. Then you just print I, because you are directly accessing the members of list. It's again an important method to use. What happened now? Okay. It's again an important method to use when you want to access the or traverse through the list. So for traversing through the list, you need for loop. So after doing the for loop and if else statements in detail, I hope you can try all the algorithms of list. So you can revisit the list part and retry all the algorithms. Okay, you can actually traverse through strings also. So say for example there is some string s is equal to hello world, it's Siraj. So it's a famous dialogue from Siraj Rawal sir, who is a great YouTuber and makes awesome content for AI AI and machine learning. He's really an inspiration. So okay, so for I in S, print I. Let's see what it prints. Okay, so it prints all the characters of string. It's a simple method to, you can say, traverse through the string. Okay, like this. And iterating by the index of sequences, you can actually use this method also, range list. And for string you can use, is there something ln of s? Yes, so you can actually use that. So for I in range len of l, it's important that you use these brackets for range, okay? Otherwise it will generate error. Let me show you that. If you just write range len l, it will generate error. Okay, it generates an error. It's necessary that you use brackets after range, because range itself is a function. Done. Okay, don't print a, print print I. Zero 1 2, print si. Okay, so what is L? Okay, what is L here? It says actually not L. Okay, so you can actually print it like this only. Hello world, it's Siraj. So you can also say that the spaces are also taken as a different character. Okay, so that's all for the loops, I guess. You can also use else statement with for loop. So for index in range, and whenever this statement is completely met, whenever this for loop is done, it will print the else statement. Okay, let me just show you that here only. Else print he is great. Okay, so whenever the for loop is completed, the else will automatically be done, automatically will be called. Then there comes something known as nested loop, very similar to what we call as nested if else. Okay, so for I in range 0 to 10, for j in range I, print j. Let's see what happens. It's a good code to print a pattern, but I need to make sure that pattern happens and print \n. It's a pattern kind of thing. Okay, yeah, so this is a number pyramid basically, or you can also print star here. How about printing a star? Okay, so it's a right triangle that I printed here. What's happening is that it's a nested loop first of all. Then you print, you take for I in range 0 to 10. So when, say for example, when I is 0, okay, then it enters the loop. And for j in range I, now range in I means from, by default, from 0 to I. Okay, so from 0 to I, what happens is that now the value of I is 0 initially. So from 0 to 0, that is only one character, that is the value of j is 0. So it enters the loop inside this loop and it prints it single time. When again it comes back to the j part, now the range has completed, because from 0 to 0 only 0 exists. It comes to this statement after for loop. Okay, after this for loop, this statement exists and it goes to the next line, again comes to the topmost loop. Okay, now the value of I is iterated, or it's incremented to 1. Okay, it enters the loop again. Now for j in range 0 to 1, that is j is equal to 0 and j is equal to 1. So 2 times printing, again comes to backslash n, next line, back to I becomes 2, this means j becomes 0, 1, 2, 3 times printing, again backslash n, and so on. Okay, this is 10, you can increase it, you can change this pattern to make a something like a equilateral triangle, and so on. Okay, I think it will happen if you print like space multiply by 5 minus j comma star. What will happen now? Okay, it's some distorted pattern, but yeah, there is a pattern of making the equilateral triangle. You can check that out on yourself. Okay, so this is a simple pattern of making a right angle. Okay, so this is nested loop. Let's study it here. So for iteration, iterator variable in sequence, for iterator variable in sequence, and statements. And similarly in the while loop. Okay, if you have any doubt in this part, you can leave the comments, or yeah, just leave it in the comments. We will be discussing it next time then. In module 2 we can pick them, but we will be discussing these type of sequences whenever necessary. It's important that you see the working of these for loops. Okay, how I and j are changing and how this whole statement are acting. If you have done C and C++ language, it's really easy to understand this. Our final note on loop nesting is that we can put any type of loop inside any other type of loop, again important, and vice versa. Let's try to use for loop here. Oh sorry, while loop here. While we will say j is not equal to I, print star end equal to, if you don't know what end means, then you need to see the previous videos, and I is equal to I plus 1, I plus is equal to 1. Let's run that. Okay, so it printed some kind of different sequence. What's happening? It printed something and now it's infinite. Okay. So what's happening that I wrote this statement when I need to write this statement, I guess. No. While j is less than equal to I, this statement. Is it still infinite? Yep, it's infinite. There's some issue in using while loop, I guess. Yeah, so I got the issue. Issue was that initially I didn't put this statement before while, and secondly I incremented I instead of j. So yeah, now it's printing the proper pattern. So you can use a while loop inside a for loop or vice versa. Okay, loop control statements. Loop control statements change execution from its normal sequence. It's not very important, but yeah, you must go through it. Another important part is ASCII values. I need to discuss at the end of this part. It's in the module 1 only, and I can't make a different video about it. Okay, so for letters in geeks, if letter is equal to E or letter is equal to S, continue, press continuator, and so on. Okay, so it returns the control to the beginning of loop. So it returns the control whenever continuous statement is called. It returns the control to this part for letter in geeks. So it's printed in this order. So you enter some letter. If it's E or it's S, then you go to geeks and so on. So what is he doing? He took letters in the string geeks. Okay, let me just show you that. So for I in, just directly write the string hello world. I will be taking vowels if I equal to A or E or I or O or U. Continue. That is, again it will come to this statement only. It will not go further. Otherwise, if this condition is not met, print I. Okay. So let's try to run that. What I meant. Variable is equal to and print current letter. What's the issue? So the issue was that I need to use this I is equal to statement every time I need to enter a new character. I don't know, but or always gives some error. Okay, so it printed. This is basically a program to WAP to print all consonants. I don't think the spelling is right, but okay. So print all consonants of a string, of a given string. Okay, you can get this string from as input str s is equal to str. By default it's also str, so no issue. Input, enter string, and for I in s, okay, just that. You run that and you enter hello world, it's Siraj. Just before that you can use this function. Why? Because there can be a case when the user enters this capital letter while it's taking the small letters. Okay, it printed all of them. Easy. Now if I comment this statement, as I told you in the last class, what will happen? Okay, I need to enter it again. Hello world. Just observe this capital I, which is not mentioned here. It's Siraj. It prints I, but I is a vowel. Okay, so we don't need that. So let me just uncomment that and use it. So it's very important when you use it with strings and stuff. Oh shit. Hello world, it's capital I, it's Siraj, capital I, capital A. Let's see if any problem takes place now. It's easy. Okay, that's done. Easy. That's continuous statement. Break statement breaks the control from, or brings out your control from loop. So other program is to write a program to break at first vowel. So whenever first vowel arises, the function should break, saying that vowel found and break. So print vowel detected at %d and %I plus 1. So whenever you want to print the location to the user, you always use this variable plus 1, and instead of continue you use break. Easy. Let's test that. Now I want this statement only. Let me just copy that. H will be printed and a number is required, not str. What happened? Okay, no, I'm sorry. The issue is that I took this as, I need to take it as range if I want to print the location. I hope you understand this, what's happening, and I need to use as in bracket I. Okay. Again, there's some issue. Stop. I now need to make it all SI, because now I is actually the address, not the integer, or not the string value, or not the character of the string. Because I wanted to print the location, I need to use this stuff. I think it should work now. Okay, must be string not int. What happened? What's up? Must be string not int. What must be? Okay, just leave that. Okay, it's giving some error. Let me just print this much only. Nope. Too much error in the code. Okay, so vowel detected basically. Note that. So after H, a vowel is detected, and that's all. Moving to the next part, pass statement. We use pass statement to write empty loops. Pass is also used for empty control statement function in classes. So empty loop for letter in geeks for geeks pass. So it's really not important. We never used it. I never used it personally, the pass statement. Sorry. Yeah, that's all. Okay. Yeah, ASCII table and ASCII value. ASCII in Python. ASCII, just ASCII. Okay. Yeah. So whenever you write some this character in ASCII, it returns you something. Let's see what ASCII table means. So for every character, there exists a decimal number, and this is known as ASCII table. So for ASCII table, the reference is this one. What's the value, ASCII value in Python? Is it ORD? I think it's ORD. (101). Let me check. 101 is for E. If I write it like this, ORD ASCII. Okay. To find ASCII value of character, here we have used ORD function to convert a character into its integer value. Yeah, that's what exactly I'm doing. ORD is used to write I, but value 5 is actually 105 and it's printing ORD. So what's the issue? Let me just check that. Actually, don't generally use ASCII values in my daily coding, but since it's in the syllabus part, so I'm doing it. They just used ORDC and it gave 112, which is for P of course, but for IA it gave, okay, is this some issue like this? Yeah, okay, so this I is some integer, I guess. It's some other character. What if I used ASCII I? Oh, it's not working. It doesn't work. ORD. So ORD is basically the function that returns the ASCII value. What I told about ASCII value is, okay, it's American Standard Code for Information Interchange. So for every single character that exists, there exists a ASCII value. Now we don't use ASCII value, of course. We use various other protocols that you will be learning in upcoming sessions. And they are different from, of course, for Mac it's different. Then for Windows you have different protocols. You have different for Linux. Okay, so now they even contain those emojis. So there are many protocols nowadays, different for Android, different for Windows, and so on. So there are some cases when some particular characters that work in different format don't work in a different operating system. Okay. So this is all about ASCII table. So you can just, for example, if you want to print ABCD, okay. So you can print that. So how will you print that? You should know the ASCII value. So you can just initially check what's the ASCII value of A. Okay, it's not A, character A. ORD is only works for character, okay. And what is ORD for Z? Say it's 122. And what's the value of ASCII? 97. Why does it work? ORD 97. What's the value? Okay, I don't think the inverse practice is possible. Okay, so for I in range, is it possible? ASCII value to character. By the way, I put this link here, so you can also use that in reference. Since this is the last video, it's going to be a bit longer, can extend to up to an hour. Okay. Okay. What if I write CHR 122? Yeah, so that's how it works. You enter character in ORD, you get a number, that's the ASCII value. You enter the ASCII value, you get character. Now to print the ABCD, so for I in range, if you know it's, like I checked its ASCII value, if you know its ASCII value, you can go like 97, 122, again 122, not 122, 123. Okay, print car, oh sorry, CHR I, comma, end with space, and print it. Done. Okay, ABCD. Yeah, that's how you do it. So it's really simple. I just wanted to tell you about this ASCII table because it's in your syllabus probably. So yeah, that's all for today. Thanks for joining today's session, and I hope you guys practice Python as much as possible. Now you can practice all the basic algorithms that work with list. Go for searching, sorting, traversing, then deletion, insertion, and so on. Okay, you can check Geeks for more information, for more practice. You can go to basic sites like HackerRank, HackerEarth for practicing now. And if you have any doubt in any kind of code, you can just tell me. I will be covering the algorithms in next module, by the way. And till then, goodbye. Subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon for upcoming videos, for module 2 of course, and comment your doubts, comment your feedback, like the video, share the video with your friends. And that's all for today. Thank you for joining, and Happy New Year in advance.